来自观点好谈 as the head of the Mexican Trade Services Documentation and Culture Office in Taiwan, Mr. Martin Torres plays a key role in strengthening bilateral ties from boosting trade investment to promoting cultural exchange and also to people connections. Today, we're very honored to welcome Mr. Torres to our program to talk about the future of Mexico and Taiwan relations and also the exciting opportunities ahead. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate the invitation.
Thank you so much for coming, Martin. First of all, speaking of Mexico, I believe all the audience in Taiwan will immediately think of that very famous cartoon movie, Coco, and that very touching song, Remember Me. That one brought me into tears. That was such a great song. And all the visuals, it's about the Day of the Dead, which it's how a lot of Taiwanese people start to connect with the culture in Mexico, and we want to learn more about this celebration. Can you tell us more about how significant this is to Mexico?
For me, it's a key expression of Mexican culture. I think it's the most authentic and deep-rooted that showcases what Mexico is today and our ancestry as well, because it's a living tradition. Even though it is hundreds of years old, it is still living and evolving, which is also very important. Indeed. So it showcases how Mexican culture has been for centuries. The combination of different pre-Columbian cultures have given rise to a new one. And of course, the most important key of that process was when the Spanish came over to the Americas and met. Two worlds were met that time. And the Day of the Dead tradition is the most important and significant expression of that heritage, because both the pre-Columbian culture and the Spanish heritage had the same idea or similar idea about life after death. And they both kept traditions regarding that. And so when they meet and blend, the Day of the Dead tradition becomes a unique new phenomenon that is continued to live even to our days.
We also have similar celebration in April. It's called Qingming, where we also remember our ancestors. Right. So I believe Taiwanese people do resonate a lot with this celebration. Of course, it's quite different. In Mexico, this Day of the Dead celebration the visual is very colorful and it's very vibrant. It feels very lively. You don't feel like it's a celebration of death. You feel more like a celebration of life.
That's what it is. Actually, that's what it is. You're remembering your loved ones, and the idea you were mentioning Coco at the beginning. That's what it is in bottom line, because your loved ones are still there and they will not go away as long as you keep remembering them.
Speaking of this celebration, there's also a lot of events celebrating in Taiwan every year, almost every year as well. What's that experience like in Taiwan?
Well, that's, like I said, for me, showcasing the Mexican culture is always been key. I've always taken it as part of my job, because if Mexico is powerful, it's a power on something, it's a power on culture. In that respect, we're very, very related, because we both come from ancient cultures, and there's just a handful of them, right? Yours, the Mexican, India, Egypt, perhaps, of course, Persia. 5 or 6, that's it. So for us to showcase what we have and showcase our heritage and the expressions of our traditions and culture is showcasing the other, a little bit of our soul, and letting the others see and look into your soul. And that way, that other person will learn more and will understand you better. And that's why we've always promoted culture. And like I said, the most important and the most meaningful one is the Day of the Dead. So my predecessors always did something at the office, but I thought that it was important to take it out of the office and showcase it to a wider public. So the very first time I did that was in 2018, and we did an exhibition at the National Public Library National Central Library.
Wow.
And that was very successful. And then from there, we started doing it in different places to put it out. Another very, very successful one was in 2020 when we did it at Taipei City Hall. And then the following year, we did it at Takashimaya Shopping Center, which was also very, very popular because, you know, the more you have it and for the longer time you have it, the more people can enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
And we even had groups of children coming from schools that were brought there to enjoy that.
Wow.
And we always have some information, additional information, so people can read and see what it is all about. And again, that's many of the many things that we try to do, but especially with that tradition because of what it means.
Yes, and also other things you're trying to do as well as the fabulous cuisine, of course, in Mexico. Earlier this year is the Fiesta de Taco. Brought like Mexican flavors to Taiwan, very fun.
Yes.
Which one's your favorite cuisine for Mexico, if you would recommend?
Well, gastronomy is also another expression of our heritage because it blends pre-Columbian, it blends the European, and the European then, of course, as you know, the Arabs stayed in Spain for 8 centuries, so it also brings that ingredient.
Yeah.
And so that's why, our gastronomy is so rich. I don't know if you know this, but there are only 3 cuisines recognized by UNESCO as intangible heritage of humanity, and one of them is the Mexican. The other one is the French, and the other one is a combination of the Mediterranean, so Spanish, Italian, Greek, but all together.
Oh.
So we're very proud of that. And of course, it's a very rich gastronomy, but the typical, what everybody understands as Mexicans is the taco. And what the taco is a tortilla, which is a piece of, it's a process. We have actually 2 kinds. We have corn tortilla and we have wheat tortilla. So, but in the north is where they use the wheat. In the central and southern part of Mexico is a corn. And so it's a flat, very thin kind of, I wouldn't even want to call it bread, and it's round. So anything that you put inside and roll it up, then you make a taco. And you make tacos of everything in Mexico.
That's very fun. And there's a variety of taco then.
Oh, many, many, many. You can actually have it just roll like that, hot, or you can fry it, and you can, mix it, turn it just around. And there are many, many. I mean, you have so many ways to prepare a taco or to use the corn because, again, corn is also a heritage from the pre-Columbian times and is the most important ingredient for Mexican food in the central and southern part of Mexico.
As we just mentioned about the celebration and also the cuisine, well, we have to mention that Mexico has been ranked top 5 global destinations to travel to have a fun trip. But it seems to be under the radar for Taiwanese people somehow, which I have no idea why, which is now I have to clarify why. Can you also tell us more about what's the fun to visit in Mexico?
The many different things that Mexico offer at the same time. With one stop, of course, there are many very beautiful beach destinations in the Americas and certainly in the Caribbean. And Mexico has some of the most beautiful beaches. But then on top of that, then you have all the pre-Columbian experience, the pre-Columbian cultures, which are plural cultures. So you have many different ones. And then you have the whole Spanish heritage, the 300 years of the Spanish state as rulers of Mexico. They built very typical constructions that were part of the tradition back then. So our Baroque is very, very special because Mexico had this tradition of absorbing foreign influences, assimilating them and transforming them into our own. So that's what you can also see in the heritage of the Spanish. And then, of course, our current metropolitan cities are very, very contemporary, and we share a lot with the world. So what you have, Mexico City, for example, is the city that has the most museums in the world, of any city. And you have so many different types of museums. So you can get culture, you can get music, which is very rich. We were talking about gastronomy. You get the most fantastic experience of food, and also architecture, and then the different times that Mexico has gone through. So there are very few one single destination where you can get all of that wrapped together.
And also regarding the business side, according to the data that we've collected, correct me if I'm wrong, but over 300 Taiwanese companies now operates in Mexico.
Correct.
So it's mostly in electronics manufacturing. What advantage does the Mexico market can offer in such key trade investment hubs?
Well, we've been very, very lucky to have so many important Taiwanese corporations settle in Mexico. They've been there. Many of them, some of the big names like Foxconn, Pegatron, Inventec, there are so many important ones that have been there for 20 years, from the beginning of the century. And the reason is because Mexico is so, number one, well located. I mean, we're neighbors to the largest market in the world and the largest consumer market in the world. We have a very, very easy connectivity in many different ways from Mexico to get to that market. We have very long tradition of human resources being developed there. So we have very, very good workers of many different kinds that learn very fast. Mm-hmm. And we also have incentives. And then we have the infrastructure for trade. We signed a free trade agreement originally in 1994 that made one market together, U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
Right.
And that's, as you know, evolved. When President Trump came for the first term, he wanted that to be reformed. It was actually not only reformed, but updated, and it was necessary at a certain point. So you have a lot of advantages to get to those markets, Canada and the U.S., and all together, duty-free. And even things are begin to change because again of the Trump issue. The treaty is still there and it's still working. So that is also an additional attractiveness for Taiwanese companies to be there, and they continue. Let me tell you that out of the time that I've been here, there's been a continuous growing interest. So those companies that we're mentioning that have been there for a long time, not only do they continue to be there, they're expanding. And there are many new ones that are exploring possibilities to get settled in Mexico and start producing in Mexico. So it's an ongoing phenomenon.
But you're doing a wonderful job now in the bilateral relationship between Mexico and Taiwan. What are some of the meaningful partnerships or any ongoing current projects that you can share with us?
Well, the relationship is being very, very growing as well in all the technological areas. Mexico is developing a very important new project called Sonora Plan, which is in the state of the northwestern state that borders mainly with Arizona. But a little bit on California on the left-hand side, and a little bit of with Texas, but with New Mexico. But the bulk of the border is with Arizona, and it's blessed with many advantages. We're building there what's going to be the largest solar plant in Latin America, and also we're planning to develop scientific parks. So we're working very closely with friends from Taiwan. Foxconn is there, ITRI is there. We have currently 30 students from that state that have been spending here 1 year studying a tailor-made program specializing in semiconductors, robotics, and on electromobility. But that's in the technological area, but also for many years, for example, with Academia Sinica, we've been working together the astrological part of it, and our National Autonomous University, they have a very important project in the north of Mexico where we have, they have been building together 3 telescopes that are geared towards learning more about the age of the not only the Earth, the age of the universe. And now we're beginning to talk about other projects that are also geared towards working together with telescopes. So you got from from very simple things, or not necessarily simple, because textile is not simple, but we have textile industries from Taiwan being settled there and developing, research and development, all the way to astronomical things. So it's very, very rich, and we're very encouraged by that, because you have so much talent here, and the very fact that we can have exchanges and learn from each other, of course, it's for us, I think it's a win-win-win situation.
Thank you today for joining us, sharing this deeper view of the vibrant and evolving ties between Mexico and Taiwan. Thank you for having you on our program.
Thank you very much. On the contrary, it's been a privilege, and I'm very happy that we've been able to reach your audience thanks to you and your hospitality.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you very much.